Welcome to another OU Insider Under the Visor YouTube Live. My name is Brandon Drumm. I'm here with Parker Thune, who is on the road. I just got to a hotel. He had to pull over. He is not where he needed to be, but we're here for you. We're here for you.
And I'm here for you from the back seat of my vehicle outside of Starbucks in Salina, Kansas. That's how much I care about each of you.
He's betwixt the seats. That needs to be like a podcast where you just podcast between the camera angle between the seats and it's called Betwixt the Seats.
And that'll be the off-season podcast series from the road.
Spencer Forsythe is on the board with us tonight. Oklahoma obviously won 28-13, I believe, was the final score of Bedlam. And it feels like so long ago that I couldn't even hardly remember the score. And since then, in that big weekend where Oklahoma hosted a horde of visitors, only 3 official visitors, but a horde of big name visitors and 7 5-stars between the 2023 24 and 25 classes were in Norman. Oklahoma got 3 commits, Parker. Taylor Wine, the 2023 defensive end out of Knowlesville, Tennessee. Obviously, today, Kendall Dolby, the NEO defensive back, committed. And then the 2023 3-star defensive lineman out of California, Ashton Sanders, committed to Oklahoma. 3 commits in 4 days. Not too shabby.
Not too shabby at all, Brandon. And, you know, we talked about it on this live stream last week, heading into this weekend of visits at Bedlam. Obviously, everybody was curious as to whether there would be substantial movement with guys like Peyton Bowen and Damian Sanford and DJ Hicks, obviously. But one of the things we discussed was at this point in the cycle, especially, you got to make your layups. And who were the 3 guys that we put in that category? Taylor Wine, Ashton Sanders, Kendall Dolby. Well, guess what? Sooners are 3 for 3 on those layups, and it only took 72 hours.
Yeah, no, and I got to tell you what, it didn't take long. And now that they're out there, they're public. The first 2 commits happened literally during the day before anything. Like, they showed up to campus, Taylor Wine, Kendall Dolby, and bam, they were committed. And then later on, as the weekend went along, and Ashton Sanders said he came into this, visit thinking and knowing he was going to commit to Oklahoma. Like, that was what he came in to do. He knew it. He wanted to. He created a little drama heading into it, building up the Wisconsin scenario that we talked about, and it kind of threw us off before he got to Norman. Not just us, Greg Biggins, who covers that area and knows Ashton Sanders better than anybody, was even thrown off a little bit by how much he talked up the Badgers. But at the end of the day, it came down to atmosphere, being able to play in the SEC, being able to learn from Todd Bates and Brent Venables, and having that OU logo on the side of his helmet. That all sealed the deal. And he's a great pickup for Oklahoma, mind you. There's a lot of people around Norman that believe that he has one of the highest ceilings in the country at defensive lineman. Raw, super raw, athletic, not real fine-tuned with as a technician, but just super quick step, built quite large already, about 6'2", 280 pounds, 290 pounds, and has a chance to be that big 0-1 3-tech guy that they've been looking for, that they wanted in Katie McDonald. But now when you talk to people, they think that this guy may have a higher ceiling. So, I mean, that's saying something, honestly, considering that they almost landed one of the lead 0-techs in the country to begin with in Katie McDonald, that they could come out of all that and quickly land a player of Ashton Sanders' ilk is huge for Oklahoma moving forward. And I'll tell you all this, a little secret, talking to people around the David Hicks family. The Sanders family and the Hicks family hit it off really well during that visit, along with the Sanford family. They all three hit it off hugely during that visit. Just a little nugget, gonna throw that out there a little bit for y'all. I don't know, Parker. I mean, that may be a little bit of a big deal, a little bit.
I mean, hey, relationships are never a bad thing. Peer-to-peer relationships in particular, and family relationships are never a bad thing to have working in your favor if you're Oklahoma. And obviously now all eyes turn towards Bowen, Hicks, Cecilia Kana, Damian Sanford. That's really it at this point. Oklahoma has 23 commits. They've got a top 10 class. They have a chance to have a top 5 class. It just comes down to whether you can close on these key targets down the stretch. And we'd long talked about how it was probably going to come down to 2 of these 3 as kind of the last, or 2 of those 4 rather, as kind of the last on the board in the class for Oklahoma, that being Akana and that being Bowen. Always kind of figured that those 2 were going to go down to the wire. Obviously, the whole development with Hicks and Sanford is somewhat recent. It's still pretty fresh, but for there to be that much outstanding talent still potentially out there for Oklahoma to beef up this class with, man, it gets you real excited about what the ceiling is for Oklahoma, and especially with in-home visits fast approaching.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the types of scenarios on the recruiting trail where you have a lot of faith in the Oklahoma staff, because they were cooking last year with the in-home visits. That was where they flipped Kobe McKenzie. That was where they solidified themselves as the destination for R. Mason Thomas. That was when they convinced guys like Robert Spears Jennings and Caden Helms that they could comfortably stick things out with Oklahoma. Kip Lewis in that same category, right? And so I think as we get closer to that season of the recruiting calendar, that couple of weeks, confidence should go up. If everything holds right now, and Oklahoma can just maintain where they stand in the recruitments of those 4, that confidence is going to increase as in-home visits draw near. What are you laughing at?
You obviously haven't seen this super chat. The $20 from Mongo 5817.
What did he say?
I'm thinking of subscribing to Twitter Blue and paying the $8 so I can magically become a recruiting insider. Kind of making fun of the David Hicks shenanigans that one. I'm not going to name the name of the Twitter site that did it, but well played. First off, thank you, Mongo, but well played. Well played. Go ahead, man. I'm sorry. That was pretty good. It was pretty good, man. Pretty good.
No, I was at the end of my thought. So that's about all I have. Oklahoma's at 23 commits. Is a very well-rounded, very well-balanced class. I think it really, really helps to have a guy like Dolby that comes from the JUCO circuit and is probably more of a plug-and-play option. Well, if you watch his tape, definitely more of a plug-and-play option than your traditional high school take. So that's a nice little flourish on the back end of this class for Oklahoma, being able to pick up a guy like Dolby. And again, Brandon, now it just comes down to what happens with Hicks, Bowen, Sanford, Akana. Can you get those guys? How many of those guys can you get? And if you end up on the outside looking in for one or more of them, how can you rebound this late in the cycle to make sure you have all your bases covered?
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing that somebody, Zach Williams, just said in the chat. Hicks family are diehard Aggies like Bryce Foster. I've heard that is not true. That is not true. Look, okay, first off, Hicks' dad is from Arkansas originally and played at Grambling State. So that's number one. Number two, David Hicks grew up a Texas Longhorn fan. So that's number two. As a matter of fact, Texas would be hard to beat if they hadn't jacked around and screwed up and been so fickle off and on with him throughout the cycle, even before the cycle. So that whole ordeal got kind of thrown to the wind. They love Coach Bates. They like A&M, but they also like Oklahoma. I talked to David's dad for 45 minutes, literally 45 minutes yesterday, and he was very, I mean, he's going to say David is committed to A&M, or he is solid. He's got it. You have to say those things. You can't come out and say, well, we're iffy here, we're iffy there, blah, blah, blah. And even if he did, I would come out and say they're solid to A&M, because that's the right thing to do in this situation. They're visiting A&M this weekend. Now, some of the family may be up in Arkansas for Thanksgiving. They haven't lined out all their whole idea of what they're going to do, or their itinerary for the Thanksgiving. It could be one of those deals where on Thursday they're in Arkansas, on Friday and Saturday they're at College Station, and then they're back home. They haven't lined up everything. The one thing that is for sure is DJ will be at the LSU game. And so the question is, at this point, Parker, is if LSU just throttles A&M, and you've got guys like Johnny Bowens who seemingly are hopping over to Oregon and stuff like that, you would think that would play into the official visit. But right now, they're going to say all the right things, and that is the official visit's going to happen, to A&M on the 16th. But when the in-homes start to happen, that stuff changes, or at least can change. And that's something you all need to think about. In-homes are starting here in a week or two. And when they take off, that's where, Parker, we talked about it today on the phone. We were driving. That's where Oklahoma can do Oklahoma things, where they solidified their 2022 class last year. Nobody thought they were going to have the class they were going to have. Nobody. In-homes, personal relationships. You add that to the NIL that Oklahoma's throwing around at this point, and things can happen. And in a positive manner. And we're not saying it's going to, but completely saying, oh, well, I get it. Everybody, Parker, wants to put this wall up, and they're like, I'm not going to get hurt again. I don't believe it's going to happen. And that's fine. Believe what you want to believe. And I guess you would rather be wrong and it go to quote the good guys in the Oklahoma instance than come out and publicly say, well, I think it's going to happen this time. And then it just bites you in the butt again. And I get it. Everybody's got this defensive wall up now, Parker. They refuse to believe things. They refuse to believe this is a legit deal. And it's legit. Oklahoma really has a chance to get DJ Hicks. That is a legit thing. He doesn't take the official visit if that's not legit. I promise you, that family doesn't waste time like that. That's not who they are. What's your take on all this?
No, I'm with you. And I understand not wanting to get hurt again. I understand not wanting to go through that whole emotional roller coaster only to get left at the altar a second time. I get the apprehension. Right. But again, DJ Hicks doesn't take that official visit to Oklahoma if he's not serious about OU. Heck, he doesn't take that official visit to Oregon if he's not serious about Oregon. Do you think DJ Hicks is committed to Texas A&M right now? I mean, look, he's committed in only the loosest and most technical sense of the word.
That's fair. Yeah.
And so as things stand right now, look, especially with A&M getting the last swing at him with the official visit on December 16th, I think I would be concerned if you're not a bit apprehensive about where this thing ends up. But at the same time, man, we know a couple things about the whole ordeal. One, Oklahoma is going to have an investment that they're ready and willing to make in order to get DJ Hicks on campus. And when you combine the significance of the invested amount with the relationships that Hicks has with so many folks in the Oklahoma circle, both peers and coaches, support staffers, whatever. When you factor in the relationships in addition to the monetary package that will be on the table, Oklahoma's a player. That doesn't mean they get DJ Hicks, but it certainly means they're a player. And they're no less of a player than they were the day DJ Hicks committed to Texas A&M, because, again, he's committed in only the loosest and most technical sense of the word. We got a cool $50 from Bobby McKay in the super chat, which shout out to Bobby for that one. Bobby says, happy Thanksgiving. Hey, happy Thanksgiving to you as well, Bobby.
Yes, sir.
He also asks, how many recruits can OU still take? How does that influence the portal coming and going? Well, at this point in time, again, OU's recruiting board, as it stands, pretty much consists of 4 guys: Bowen, Hicks, Sanford, Akana. Beyond that, it comes down to immediacy of need and how things change, how those needs change and evolve whenever the portal window opens up, because there will be an exodus at Oklahoma. There will be a number of players that end up in the transfer portal. And I would say the vast majority, if not all those players, are going to end up in the transfer portal, not because they want to transfer, but because the OU staff is going to give them that gentle shove in that direction. Because you got to have 85 guys on scholarship who are all the way bought in if you want to be playing championship level football. And OU doesn't have 85 scholarship guys right now that are all the way bought in. That's the reality. And part of that is the remnants of the erstwhile culture that was left behind by the former head coach and the former staff. Part of that is just, hey, you know what? There were guys like Cavante Henry, for instance, that just couldn't hack it. Not only couldn't hack it, but had issues that maybe weren't as perceptible throughout the recruiting process. Guys that just got to the collegiate level and decided that they could mail it in. And you can't at a place like Oklahoma, especially not if you have the expectations that Brent Venables and the staff do for where they are and where they're going to be. So there's going to be a flush this offseason. There will be. How many players that is, I don't know. I have a ballpark guess, but I don't know for sure. Could be 5, could be 25. Probably couldn't be 25. That's a little steep.
It's like, whoa, dude.
There's going to be a lot of turnover.
500 listeners' buttholes just puckered up real tight when they heard that.
I would say you're gonna approach, if not eclipse, double-digit portal casualties. Now, I will add this. I'm not sure whether any of those portal casualties, many or any of those portal casualties, are going to be guys that you would consider impact contributors if you're picking up what I'm putting down. So it's more about finding the guys that are buried on the depth chart right now and are just not doing enough in practice, not carrying themselves in such a manner that this staff can be confident that they're ever going to play, that they're ever going to make the grade at Oklahoma. It's about taking those guys and rehoming them and filling their spots on the roster, filling their scholarships with guys that will.
Yeah. No, I think of the players, of the numbers wise, with Oklahoma, I guess, exiting, if you will, or entering the transfer portal, I would probably say 6 to 10, maybe 6 to 8, I would assume. But what you also have to worry about are guys entering the NFL draft that aren't ready to enter the NFL draft or shouldn't enter the NFL draft. And I mean, I think one that comes to mind is Jalen Redmond. I think at this point, I would bet he enters, and that's unfortunate. I mean, maybe Woody Washington enters. And I know we got a question, Marvin Mims, and we'll answer the DJ Graham question because I have some information on that, by the way. But the Marvin Mims stuff, bro, like we talked about it last week. I don't know, man. Like, I'm up in the air with him. He's had an okay year. He hasn't had the great year that we all expected him, or at least when he started the season, we all expected, like, oh, there's no way he stays. Like, that dude is putting up absurd numbers. He's making absurd catches. He's not going to stay. As the season went on and the drops happened, and you won't find a bigger Marvin Mims fan than the person, and people have asked where I'm at, than the guy sitting right here at the Residence Inn in Grapevine, Texas. So Marriott Hotel, that's where I'm at. If I'm Marvin Mims, I stay, Parker. I stay.
I agree.
But as far as like, if Oklahoma's going to hit the portal hard, yeah, I think you're going to see them take 7 to 10 portal guys this year. Would be my guess. Like, would you say that's a low number, Parker?
I would say that's on the lower end of the spectrum. Yeah.
And I say that, and I want to go lower just because if they go over, okay, whatever. 7 to 10. I think when I say 7 to 10, I think they take 7 to 10 like contributors, like instant contributor guys, because I think it's going to be that type. We've already seen it. I mean, you got Trey Sanders, you got Kyrie Jackson, you've got who else entered the portal here? Harris from Texas A&M. I mean, these are dudes, bro, like big time guys entering. In Kyrie Jackson and Harris were recruited by Valai at Alabama. So that right there is a connection. I don't know about Trey Sanders. I don't know how that, could unfold. And I don't know if DeMarco Murray would actually go that route, considering what he has returning next year at running back and what he's bringing in. I don't know that would be, I just don't know, right? Like, I don't know. But those two, I could almost guarantee Oklahoma at least test the waters with, right? Like, they have to.
Yeah, you'd think so.
Anyways, what was the $2 question on that?
So we got $20 from Shane Lewis, who
Oh,
asked,
yes,
how does BV not having a mink coat affect the recruiting process? Well, I think BV probably needs a couple.
I want Bowen. Where's Bowen? Instead of Boz, that's a Switzerland.
Oh, get a couple national championship rings on those fingers as a head coach, and then maybe Venables can start swagging out in the mink coat like Barry Switzer. So it's a process.
Yeah.
$2 from Lloyd, who asks, Akana, Hicks, Bowen, Sanford, who do we get? What do you think, Brandon?
There's a world you get all four. I mean,
yeah,
honestly.
there is.
I'll let you go first.
I think they get Akana. I think they get Bowen. I don't know about Hicks and Sanford. Again, I like, you're either getting both of those guys or you're getting neither of those guys.
No, that is correct.
You're not getting one of two. You're not going 1 for 2 on those.
That is correct. One,
So
either way, if
I
Sanford
almost feel
gets
like if you're
Oregon,
going to say,
go ahead.
if you're going to say they get Hicks, you got to also say they get Sanford and vice versa. I'm, and I want to be there. I think there's definite reason to believe that Oklahoma might be even they might be in a better spot than anybody else right now for DJ Hicks.
Yeah.
And they might be in a better spot right now than anybody for Damian. Here's the thing. And I've kind of had to remind myself of this over the last couple of weeks as we've watched this all play out with Hicks. There's still a month to the finish line. There's going to be a wrinkle. There will be. I don't know what it is. I don't know who it is. There's going to be a wrinkle here. There has to be. There's something that we haven't seen yet or that we're not seeing right now that's going to come into play. Maybe it's Alabama. Maybe Texas throws the kitchen sink at DJ Hicks. I don't know, man. But I caution everybody against believing that this is 100% just going to be a battle between OU and A&M down the stretch, because I think when you got a kid that's taking visits like this, and you got a kid that, as I mentioned earlier, is committed in only the loosest sense of the word, maybe you get some programs circling back around that kind of had figured for a while that they had no shot at Hicks. Now they realize, you know what? He doesn't really know what he wants to do. There's a window for us here. And the window, if you can get your foot in the window and you got money behind you, anything can happen. And we've already witnessed chaos in the Hicks recruitment the day that he committed to A&M, right? So it's, as much as I would like to believe that Oklahoma ends up with DJ Hicks, and as much as that seems to make the most sense on paper right now, I'm not taking anything to the bank, because I think there will be a new wrinkle at some point. I just can't really foresee or perceive right now what that is.
Yeah. No, and again, somebody just commented and said that Bowen told Tom Loy that he was locked in. That's not, no, he didn't. I haven't, have you seen that? I have not seen that. You'd have to link it, because I'm on Notre Dame's site right now, and I have not seen about what did come out was that Tom Lloyd talked to sources, and they had talked, Notre Dame had a phone call with the Bowen family, and Notre Dame is working on it and feels like they're putting in work right now to make sure that a flip doesn't happen or anything to that nature. But when you talk to kids around that were around Bowen this weekend in Norman, you get a completely different vibe. And the kids were talking as if it was almost a thing that Bowen was going to go to Norman. Now, I'm not going to say that because I'm not ready to say that, but there's a reason why people are putting in crystal balls, or I'm friends with Nick Harris, and there's a reason why Nick Harris is putting in what he's put in publicly. He can't obviously put in an actual crystal ball because he says Rivals doesn't allow them to do that, but there's a reason for that. I'll tell you that. And I'm hearing the same stuff. It's just, I'm not ready because I'm at one of those points where I'll believe it when I see it, Parker. Like, I'll believe it when I see it, because we've heard this and I've seen this happen over and over and over. It's just a matter of, I believe at this point, like if National Signing Day was today, and need a reminder that Peyton Bowen is 18 years old. If the pen goes to paper, my gut says Oklahoma, but I'll believe it when I see it. Like, I'd have to see it come across the wire where it says Peyton Bowen signed with Oklahoma before I would actually believe it happened, if that makes sense. So that's going to be one of the fun ones to watch as the in-homes take place. I think even the like as you said, the Akana thing is going to be interesting because obviously you have Texas, you got LSU, you got Oklahoma. I think those are probably the three schools that are pushing the hardest for him right now. But the in-homes are going to be really interesting on that one. And they're going to be really interesting with Sanford and Hicks. I can't wait to see the in-homes. I can't wait to see where these coaches end up going and watching and what they're doing as far as trying to close out on certain players. And there's going to be a surprise in-home or two, I'm sure of it. Just like you said, there's something that we don't know about that probably will happen at some point. Like a random interest of somebody calling and saying, hey, do you have a spot for me? Come by my house. I want to meet you all, or something to that extent. It happens all the time. I mean, Orlando Brown just randomly signed with Oklahoma on National Signing Day. He was going to Tennessee. And Oklahoma hadn't done much with him at the time. He just signed with Oklahoma. Like that stuff happens. Like crazy stuff happens the closer we get to National Signing Day. So I just say buckle up. I can't wait for it, Parker. I can't wait for it.
I mean, I'm looking forward to it if for no other reason than this will all be over.
Yeah, well, our Dave is $50, nuts on the table. Peyton Bowen, he's obviously wanting to know where we think he's going to. I guess we both said it. I mean,
Oklahoma.
Yeah, I think at this point, if National Signing Day ended today, I would probably pick Oklahoma. But obviously, the in-homes, as I said, are going to take place, and that is going to change a lot. Look, you can't just throw out the fact that he's been to Oklahoma like 20 times. The dude took a visit to Oklahoma literally 6 or 7 days after he committed to Notre Dame. Think about that. Why? Just committed. You're all locked in. Why are you taking those visits? Because he's been interested in Oklahoma. His girlfriend's going there. His best friend's going there. This is going to be hard for Peyton to turn down. The one thing that Notre Dame has more than anything else is the fact they've got his mom, really locked in. So, I mean, she's all Notre Dame. Oklahoma's doing everything they can to make sure that she kind of opens up a little bit and allows some grace there, but we'll see how all that plays out. Let's talk about the Texas Tech game. What is the three things you think has to happen for Oklahoma to win this week?
Well, don't turn the ball over. I think it starts there offensively. Apply pressure on the quarterback. And in a more general sense, just build on what you did defensively last week. Because if you regress to the mean, if you revert back to what we'd seen from Oklahoma the previous few weeks, then people are going to get pissed. And deservedly so, right? But if you can take what you did against Oklahoma State and you can use that as a stepping stone for another dominant defensive performance against a team that's got a lot of uncertainty at the quarterback position. Tyler Shuck's going to start, but do we see Donovan Smith at some point? Do we see Baron Morton at some point? All three of those guys have seen substantial action this year for Texas Tech. So, if you can build upon what you did last week defensively and turn in another similar outing, you're going to be well on your way to a second straight win and some momentum heading into bowl season. The third thing I think is, and feels like last week was kind of the notable exception to a trend that we've seen all year. But man, you don't even necessarily have to win the fourth quarter, because I guess Oklahoma didn't win the fourth quarter a week ago. But
right,
keep it together down the stretch. keep it together down the stretch. Don't let things get out of hand. If you go into the fourth quarter with a 1-possession lead and all of a sudden the exact same stuff's happening that we saw against Kansas State or against Baylor or against West Virginia, like, don't wilt. Whether that means rotating more, subbing more, whether that means being more aggressive with the blitz packages, whatever the case may be, do what you have to do to make sure that you don't squander momentum down the stretch, because especially on the road against a team like Tech that's fighting for bowl eligibility themselves, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, bowl eligibility is still on the table for them.
Yeah.
Man, they're going to be fighting tooth and nail for one more game and those 15 extra practices, right? So they're on their home field. There are going to be harsh elements at play. I'm talking about the weather on a cold night in West Texas. And you got to keep it together down the stretch. You have to prevent the collapse that we have seen time and time and time again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and look, this whole blaming Dylan Gabriel thing is just driving me up a wall. Like, yeah, he makes some mistakes every now and then, but my God, how many drop passes again last Saturday night? It's like we said in the previous live, it's become an epidemic, Parker. Like, what is going on, man? Like, and then he gets the blame for it. They're like, well, my God, man, they can't convert a third down. Well, no shit. Like, you can't catch a pass. You can't convert a third down. That's what happens. Like, what's he supposed to do? Throw the ball up to himself, run up underneath it, and catch it? He's not Michael Vick. I've just seen that in the commercial where he threw it and then he ran up underneath and caught it and started like juking everybody because his Michael Vick experience. So I don't know, man. Like, they've got to be consistent on offenses, number one. Like, they've got to be consistent. No stupid penalties, no stupid drops, no stupid fumbles. I think that has to be the key of all keys going into this game. I literally never thought, covering the University of Oklahoma, I would be sitting here right now and going, God, the offense shoots themselves in the foot every week. Like, they literally shoot themselves in the foot every week. It was always the defense did that. Now, I guess we should have expected with the Brent Venables coach team that the defense was going to turn it on at some point during the season. But still, as bad as they were to start the season, that was even hard to wrap your head around. I mean, not to start, but after about week 3, after they started off hot and they went downhill on that 3-game stretch, the offense was doing everything they were supposed to do then, and the defense wasn't. Now it's the defense is doing everything to keep the offense in play, and now the defense or the offense is screwing everything up. It's wild, Parker. Like, I don't. We're living in freaking crazy times covering the University of Oklahoma. It's backwards land is what it is. And the other thing for me is the defense just needs to stay confident. They got to stay confident. If they stay confident and they stay healthy, it looks like they figured some things out. It does. It looks like they've figured some things out. And you run Brent Venables because he's going to scheme for you. I mean, he's going to put you in the right spot at the right time to make the right play. And if you just do what you're supposed to do and not screw it up, you should win. You should win.
You should. $3 in the super chat from Yo Factor. How does one convert on third down?
Catch a pass.
Catch a pass. Block
the guy you're supposed to block.
Yeah, like lots of different ways to do it, and the Sooners have done none of those things the last few weeks. Yeah. So $50 from R. Davis again, who says, let's talk more about Bowen.
let's not say we did, but I appreciate the $50, buddy. I know you're trying to mess with us at this point. I know
Well,
you're messing with us.
I think Peyton Bowen's a Sooner in the end. There's the summary of my thoughts on the matter.
So what's your final score? Are you going to pick Texas Tech just to appease the Sooner fans?
No, I'm not. I don't feel the need to.
Oh no, he's screwing you guys.
You know what?
You guys.
They're bowl eligible. If they lose this game and I am determined to be a Hex, then I will pick against them in the bowl. How about that? But no, I'm picking Oklahoma in this game. I don't think terribly highly of Texas Tech. I think they might be the worst team in the Big 12. And that's saying more than that means more than it has in years past, because the Big 12 is a really good league here in 2022. But I don't love what Tech brings to the table. They don't really excite me. I mean, they're just kind of a ho-hum football team. And you can say the same about Oklahoma, right? But we've seen flashes of elite play at times from Oklahoma in 2022. Haven't really seen that from Tech. And especially coming off the high of a dominant win over Oklahoma State in the Bedlam series, a really solid, really dominant defensive effort. Yeah, I like Oklahoma in this football game. Tech does not have a phenomenal defense. It's not a terrible defense by any means, but it's not a great one. I think the Sooners put up some points. I'm going to say the final score of this game is 38-21, Oklahoma. 38-21.
I'll go 31-17, Oklahoma. I think the loss of Tyree Wilson is bigger than what people, and it's being talked about on a national basis. But if Texas Tech was a bigger name, it would be really talked about, because you're talking about a guy that was a potential All-American that has a chance to be a first round, second round pick, day 1, day 2 pick in the NFL. Man, he's special. Losing a guy like that can really hinder the defense, because he creates so many other problems, because you have to, obviously you've got to shift your cover, you got to shift your blocking over towards him. You've got to do a lot of different things. And now you take that away, and it allows the opposing offense to do pretty much be chalk what they're used to doing, because they don't have to focus another player or two over on Tyree Wilson, who is just an animal coming off the edge. So happy Thanksgiving, R. Davis. Thank you once again. As Brand 1028 said, NIL too, you know. You might want to, I know you probably do donate to NIL. So as far as the final score for me, as I said, 31-17. Parker, before we go, there's been questions about DJ Graham.
Yeah.
I talked to somebody who's seen it, around it all the time, every day, and they told me that dude might be the best wide receiver on the team when it's all said and done next year. They think he is that good. He's making big time plays on the scout team, like just killing the first team. So I think that's something to watch. He was a dude at wide receiver coming out of high school. We've seen the one-handed catches. We've seen the freaky interceptions throughout his career at Oklahoma when he's been in the right spot. The guy is a great athlete. I think he's going to be a big player for OU in 2023 at wide receiver. That is one of my bold predictions next year, that he's one of the top 3 receivers for OU next year. Calling it now. Everybody's raving about him. So
I admire the optimism, and I think really highly of DJ Graham. But we hear a lot of raving about a lot of guys.
Oh yeah, I know.
On the practice field. So
that's why I call it bold.
Yeah. I'm going to say let's revisit, and we certainly will, revisit this then, if not sooner. But let's revisit this show, this day, November 23rd. Let's revisit that particular take from Brandon after the spring game in April, because I think the spring game will really give us an indication as to what type of player DJ Graham's going to be at the wide receiver position. And I agree, like,
You watch, he's
we've got
gonna
the
be a spring game hero and then fall off the face of the earth next year.
look, we've gotten the chance to watch DJ Graham take reps at the tail end of some of the practices that we've gotten the chance to show up to. He looks good, man. He looks fluid. He looks immaculate technically, which is remarkable for a guy that hasn't played wide receiver on a full-time basis in 3 years. I mean, I'd forgotten about this till now, but there was a time when we walked into the Everest Center and it was at the very end of practice and we were getting ready to interview a couple players, and I looked down to the other end of the field and Nick Evers is throwing to this receiver that's just running really crisp routes, snagging the ball, turning, like he's quick with his cuts. And as soon as he catches the ball, he's shooting upfield. Like, and I was like, hey, for a while, I watched a couple reps. I was like, dang, who is that? That dude looks good, but somehow I don't recognize him. Like, I can't pick out who that is. And then at a certain point, he's got his jersey tucked up under his shoulder pads. At a certain point, the jersey falls, and I realized, oh, shoot, that's 9. That's DJ Graham. So, yeah, I can buy into the notion that DJ Graham's going to be an impact guy at the wide receiver position for Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
What I am worried about is, well, I wouldn't say really worried. My question more so than anything else is, even if he is earning regular snaps in the lineup at wideout for Oklahoma, how many catches is that good for? Because, you know, you can look at a guy like Marvin Mims, who leads Oklahoma in several receiving categories thus far, say, okay, but Marvin Mims isn't substantially out snapping somebody like Jalil Farouk or Drake Stoops, for instance, whose production has been far more modest. So snaps don't necessarily equate to production. I will be curious to see not only if DJ Graham can get on the field, but once he's on the field, if he can produce to the level that a wide receiver 1 or a wide receiver 2 in this offense typically produces at.
Right. Are you a ham or turkey guy?
For Thanksgiving, turkey.
I'm a honey glazed ham guy. Give me honey glazed ham with some rolls, some sugar, green beans with some bacon glazed in there, mixed in there, little bits of bacon mixed in there, and some mashed potatoes, and I'm good to go, bro.
Boom.
I'm good. I do like dark meat, so I'll still eat the turkey. I do like flavor. I'm a big deep fried turkey guy. I love deep fried turkey.
I'm big on the dark meat as far as turkey's concerned. Give me turkey at Thanksgiving, ham at Christmas. That's the way I like it. Couple more questions. $2 from Mongo, who says, shout out Ricardo LeBlanc. That's right.
Yep.
What up, Ricardo?
Mr. Ricardo LeBlanc. Yes, sir.
And $2 from Thomas House.
Friday.
Yeah, and $2 from Thomas Housewright, who asks, will Malcolm Kelly be our wide receiver coach next year? One word answer, Brandon. One word answer.
Maybe.
It's
a one word answer. No.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong.
Like here's the thing. No, seriously. I know this is more than one word, but here's the thing. You got to give credit to Coach Washington for what he's done holding this class together as far as he's held it so far. Like, he's done a phenomenal job. If you're Brent Venables, do you turn your back on that? Or do you reward that? That's a tough, man. That's tough. I'm glad I'm not Brent Venables in that situation.
Yeah, those are tough decisions to have to make.
But you go ahead, you answer that. Go ahead. I'll let you answer that question.
I will say, yes, Malcolm Kelly is Oklahoma's wide receiver coach next year.
And
That
yes,
is my
Jackson-
opinion based
Same.
on the available information.
I can neither deny that actually, but Jackson Arnold is flipping Jay Morris. There you go. It's gone.
Well, I guess that brings us to the end of this Thanksgiving edition.
That makes us
Almost
the
Thanksgiving edition.
comments. Yeah, that's gonna do it for this version of the OU, and he's really not flipping folks. For the OU Insider Under the Visor YouTube Live. If you're not a subscriber to this YouTube channel, do so. Just click the subscribe, give the thumbs up. How many subscriptions do we have in the on the YouTube so far?
Close to
Do we know?
8,000. Still not there yet. Still
Not to
working toward it.
8,000, but it's only been 3 months. We'll take it. 7,631 per our guy on the board, Spencer Forsythe. Thank you so much. Yes, so subscribe. If you're not, hey, guess what though? On top of that, literally through Monday night till 10:59 p.m. Monday night Central Time, you can get OU Insider and all of 24/7 Sports. You cannot beat this, period. Like, it is amazing. I think we've got already almost 100 plus people have signed up in less than 24 hours. So thank you guys so much. I think we're like third in all of 24/7 Sports because you OU fans rock. But $26.85, $26 get you OU Insider for a whole year, which means you'll get all the way through the football season next year for $26. And you'll get all of 24/7 Sports. There's 250 sites, VIP sites on 24/7 Sports, and you get those too. And then after the first year is up, you get a 2-for-1 deal. That means you stay with us for a whole year and we reward you with Paramount Plus for free. Think about that. That's a deal. That's a deal, Sooner fans. So if you, I'm telling you, go to ouinsider.com right now, go click up there in that join, and you can sign up and you can be a part and you can get all the VIP information you can, because we don't dive that deep on this live. Like we do to an extent if somebody pays and stuff like that, because that's we're obligated to. But as far as like diving deep into the weeds of the insider information that our members know, we can't. We do this for you guys so you guys can have a vague grasp of what's going on, and also know that, hey, there's more on OU Insider, a lot more on OU Insider VIP. And for $26, hey, it's worth it. It is worth it. It's a Black Friday, Cyber Monday sale, and it's going on till 10:59 on Monday. Hey, sign up. We would love to have you. Thousands and thousands and thousands of other Oklahoma fans. We just hit another record. I just got told that today. We hit another record as far as members go. And again, that's thanks to you guys. We've hit record after record on page views, sessions, and members on our board, because you Oklahoma Sooners fans are awesome. And it shows the NIL stuff's happening now too. You guys kill it. You guys kill it 100%. We're blessed and we're proud to be able to do the job that we do for you guys. And we can't thank you guys enough for everything you guys have done for us. And because of that, we want to tell you all happy Thanksgiving as well. And remember, if you are a member of OU Insider, we do ticket giveaways during basketball and football season. So there will be big games. I think we did every home game this year. We gave at least a pair of tickets away, didn't we, Parker? Every home game, right?
We
Yeah.
did. Yeah. Every single
And
home
almost
game.
and I think we gave away a few away games too. So yeah, I think hey, think about it. I mean, there's been plenty of members that have gone to OU games on our dime as well. So you get things in return. And during the off season, every few weeks we give away Amazon gift cards or Best Buy gift cards or extended memberships to you guys through drawings or OU basketball tickets or Thunder tickets. I mean, we do whatever we can to make sure you guys stay happy as consumers during your membership, because we love you guys and want you guys to continue to sign up with us. So thank you guys so much. All right. We hope you guys have a happy Thanksgiving. That's going to do it for this version of the OU Insider Under the Visor YouTube Live. For Parker Thune, for Spencer Forsythe, my name is Brandon Drumm. You guys have a happy Thanksgiving and stay blessed.